And God stepped out in space. And he looked around and he said, I'm lonely. I'll make me a world. Hello, I'm Frank Hanaway. Welcome to Big Journey, Small Steps. That little brief excerpt is from a poem by James Weldon Johnson. And the memorization and recitation of that poem in school is something I will never forget. And here's why. Growing up, I was almost always the brightest kid. I hate to say it out loud. Okay, I did the best in my class up until the 9th grade. Hands down, I never had any competition. And I knew it, and I was smug about it. Now, I was bad at a lot of other things, especially sports, and I didn't fit in very well. I talked too much, and I was very feminine. But that was mine, right? I had that. So when I went to high school, my parents, I think they sold property to do it, sent me to a private Catholic high school in Tampa that's known for academic excellence, and it's known to this day. And I think it was founded in the 1880s. And the year that I came there, there was one of the classes of entering freshmen scored the highest on the placement test that any class had ever scored up to that point. I don't know what the statistics are now, but and we all got put in there together. And most of those students that were in that class had already gone to school together for 8 years at Christ the King in Tampa, but I was from out in the country. I'd gone to another school. And so I was used to, without much effort, being the top of my class. Now, at Jesuit, at the end of every term, in those days, I don't think they do this anymore, praise the Lord, but in those days, at the end of every term, you went into the gymnasium and they read everybody's scores for the term out loud and ranked us. Okay, well, in this class of extraordinary students, there was this one guy that he took my place. He didn't know he did that. He probably always had the place, and most of the guys that had been, this was an all-boys school, most of the guys that had been to school with him before were used to it. But I got there, and here is this really nice guy. His name was and is Tommy Sultenfuss, and I believe he's a dermatologist now. And any good things that come his way, blessings on him. He's a wonderful guy. So here he was stealing my place. He was a very attractive young man, had a great body, he was a swimmer. All the students liked him, all the teachers liked him, everybody liked him. He was just a nice guy, and as bad as I would have liked to find something wrong with him, there wasn't anything wrong with him. He was just a nice person. And he didn't seem to come with a lot of baggage, or if he did, he didn't make it anybody else's problem. So we had a wonderful English teacher. His name was Father Hartnett. He's passed away now. And one of our first assignments in the year, I don't know when this happened, was to memorize the poem, The Creation, by James Weldon Johnson, and stand up in class and present it. And I thought, well, I have this. I had a really good memory in school. And so when we got there, he said, who would like to go first? And my hand just shot up because I had it. Now, I thought the assignment was to memorize it and say it. So I got up and I said, and God stepped out in space and he looked around and he said, I'm lonely, I'll make me a world. And I continued like that. And Father Hartnett, my gosh, Father Hartnett didn't say anything. And the next and then he called on Tommy. And Tommy got up and he said, and God stepped out in space and he looked around and he said, I'm lonely. I'll make me a world. And I thought, uh-oh. And then Father Hartnett gave me another opportunity to go. And in that moment, I realized that the world did not revolve around me, at least not in the way I had thought it did previously. And I really didn't know who I was anymore. This is not Tommy's fault. Obviously, this is my fault. So I really got it that I had just been treading water for a long time. Unfortunately, because I was very immature, what I found out was I could continue to tread water and be in the top 5. But then in order to try to usurp Tommy's place as head of the class, which he was, I would actually have to work, because that's what Tommy did. Tommy, I don't know if he was smarter than the rest of us or not, but he worked his butt off. And it was obvious that everything that he did, he put his heart in, and it showed. Well, lately, I don't know how this all ties together, but I have to just do it this way. So lately, I have been creating this new YouTube channel where I dress in drag and I become this person named Sissy Johnson, and I talk about the town that I came from. And I've created her from scratch. Now, she has a lot of the same memories that I have. She knows the same people I know. She knows the same stories I know, duh. But what I'm able to give her that I didn't give myself as I created who I am was compassion and humility. And I had this breakthrough with her yesterday. I was watching back some footage, and it's going to take some time because I've realized now I'm onto something that has value. I was trying to, it's good to make people laugh, but it needed to have value for me, and I couldn't figure out what it is. And the world of drag is a very harsh place. In the past, drag queens and cross-dressers have been vilified not only by the straight community, but they've been redheaded stepchildren in the gay community too. And as a result, part of drag has been the development of this acerbic, cutting wit, which I have always enjoyed, but it gets to be a little too much now. And now that drag queens have this special place in pop culture, I thought, I'm going to create a drag queen character who's sweet, who's humble, who's compassionate, who tells funny stories, tells the truth, sees the strangeness in everything, doesn't mind pointing out that something might not be right, but does it in a loving, understanding way. It's the coolest thing. So Frank stepped out in space and he looked around and he said, I'm lonely. I'll make me a world. And I'm making that world through Sissy, and it's so wonderful. And I cannot wait to get to share it with you. Anyway, everything's fine here at our house. By the way, I'll put that in the notes so that you'll know immediately. Everything is fine here. We're doing really well. Janet got out of the hospital. She's back with me. My friend Hedwig, who's 91, that had a stroke, was here on Saturday for lunch. It was one of the nicest times we've ever spent together. Everything's good. And one of the, we're always talking about creators, YouTube creators, artists of all kinds that create beauty, create art, create commentary. And we mirror God in that way. We mirror God. And so for me, as part of my spiritual practice, I get to do that and create sweetness and love and compassion. And I'm really excited about it. Thank you for spending time with me today. I'm off to the doctor to discuss long-term pain management, which is, by the way, going very well. I'm almost completely through with the Cymbalta side effects. It's fine. So, somebody came at Mom just let my cousin in the front door. Now Sita's going to make noise. Anyway, thanks for spending time with me. I love you all. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. I'd like to wish you peace and joy.